They say that love is all we need. They write it into every song, but nobody explains to you what to do when love goes wrong. Why do we run toward the fire, knowing we'll get burned? Why do we give away the lesson right after it's been learned? Why does the heart ignore the brain like students in a class? Why do we trust the pretty promise when pretty never lasts? Crumble to the ground. Why love? Because the alternative is cold and it's unkind. Why love? Because the heart won't listen, even when it's blind. My grandmother loved someone faithfully for 67 years. She said the secret was quite simple. She chose love over fear. Every single morning waking to a choice and not a chain. She could have walked 1,000 times but chose to stay through every pain. So maybe love ain't about the answer. Maybe it's about the ask. Maybe love is just the bravest thing behind the weakest mask. Why love when love can leave you bleeding? Why love when love can break you down? Why love when everything you're building can crumble to the ground? Why love? Because the alternative is cold and it's unkind. Why love? Because the heart won't listen, even when it's blind. I asked a couple at the diner, married 42 years strong. He smiled and pointed to his wife and said, "She is my wife." Not because she's perfect, not because the road was smooth, but because without the question there'd be nothing left to prove. Why love? Because your baby's laughter is a sound no fear can match. Why love? Because the hand that holds you is the net beneath the catch. Why love? Because the funeral flowers from the one who stayed through all prove that love was always worth the risk of every fall. So we love because we're human, and humans need the heat. We love because the lonely cold is harder than defeat. Why love? Because the sun keeps rising. Why love? Because the tide comes home. Why love? Because without it, we're just bones and skin and bone. Why love? Because I've seen the darkness, and the darkness isn't kind. Why love? Because it's so worth it when you find the one that's mine. Why love? Because it's worth it, always worth it. Love, just love.